Maxwell's theory provided a strong foundation for this electromagnetic waves or the all type of electromagnetic radiations. These are electric and magnetic field, varying time varying electric and magnetic field, and they transverse or they travel with the speed of light, or that is the speed 3 into 10 raised to 10 meters per second. So all this theory was the details, theoretical details were provided by this Maxwell's Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, and there were also several experiments, including all the experiments in optics, that were supporting to this electromagnetic nature or wave nature of this electromagnetic radiations. Still, up to 1900, there were few experiments like black body radiations and photoelectric effect. So these two experiments showed that there is something missing in the picture, and this particular electromagnetic theory or wave theory is not a complete theory. It requires something best, something out of the box, and this is what the thinking and this is what the step that compelled scientists like Planck and Einstein and so on to think about the particle nature of these electromagnetic waves, or all the electromagnetic spectrum. It can be assumed to be made of particles, and that type of these two experiments, you have to just remember black body radiation and photoelectric effect. These are the two experiments which compelled scientists at that time to think in other way. That is what they started thinking, that electromagnetic waves are existing in the particle nature too. Later on 1905, this name for so this first thought was given by Max Planck through his theory, and this particle nature of the electromagnetic radiations was used by Einstein, and he called these particles to be photon, and he used this particular concept to understand this concept of this photoelectric effect. So concept was given by Max Planck, and it was used by Einstein to demonstrate that photoelectric effect is possible when we assume and when we consider electromagnetic waves are of the particle nature. So that's what I had given this particular idea before 1900. Whatever physics that is called as the classical physics, and whatever after this 1900 that came with this Max Planck and Einstein and Compton and so many other scientists, that is called as a modern physics. So wave nature and particle nature of electromagnetic radiations, these were the two dilemmas or the two different thinkings regarding this electromagnetic waves. So whatever before 1900, that era is called as era of classical physics, and after 1900 this era is called as modern physics. किंवा हे दोन क्लासिफिकेशन जे झाले ते क्लासिफिकेशन इन्सिडेंटल म्हणजे योगायोगाने 1900 साल बरोबर या वर्षी तो मॅक्स प्लँक्सने हा शोध लावला, आणि मग त्याच्या अगोदरची जी सगळी थिअरी होती ती सगळी क्लासिकल फिजिक्सला मानणारी थिअरी होती, आणि मग मॉडर्न फिजिक्स किंवा नवीन प्रकारचं जे मॉडर्न फिजिक्स आपण म्हणतो आधुनिक फिजिक्स झालं ते साधारणपणे 1900 नंतर आलं, की जेव्हा या लोकांनी पार्टिकल नेचरचाही शोध घेतला, त्याचे काही एक्सपेरिमेंट सुरू केले, त्याचे थिओरिटिकल डिस्क्रिप्शन दिलं, अँड देन इट वॉज फाउंड दॅट देअर एक्झिस्ट ए वेव्ह पार्टिकल ड्युअलिटी. So electromagnetic radiations exist in wave nature as well as it exists in the particle nature. This is what depending upon different experiment, तुम्ही कोणत्या प्रकारचा एक्सपेरिमेंट करत आहात त्यावेळेस काही वेळेस तुम्हाला इलेक्ट्रिकल मॅग्नेटिक वेव्स ह्या वेव्ह सारख्या दिसतील, काही वेळेस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स हे तुम्हाला पार्टिकल सारखे दिसतील. नाउ दिस इज अ बिट डिफिकल्ट चॉईस, विच वन इज करेक्ट, कोण बरोबर आहे किंवा कोणाचं जास्त बरोबर आहे. तर बोथ आर करेक्ट. दॅट इज व्हॉट द ब्युटी ऑफ दिस पर्टिक्युलर सब्जेक्ट. So particle nature is equally important, equally useful, equally what we say, it is profound by conceptual, by experimental, as well as this wave nature is again equally profound, equally theoretically supported, and all these things. So particle nature and wave nature of the electromagnetic radiations was, that is called as the wave particle duality. Now let's go for more about this. There are some mathematical expressions we are going to go for this discussion for these things. Further, we'll start with this. Now let's go further. Let's go further again this mathematical description of this theory. So first it is a Max Planck. This is the name of the scientist, German scientist. As I said, he has given this hypothesis. So he has given hypothesis of quantization of EM waves. So this is what the scientist who gave this particular idea, and in his theory he showed that the energy, okay, energy of EM waves can be given as, by this simple relation, E is equal to h into nu, where this h is called as Planck's constant. See, his own constant. With his experiment he showed that this constant has a value 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules second, okay, joules second. So this is what the constant given by here. Nu is the frequency of EM radiation. So I am suggest that we are not needed to go into details of all these theoretical aspects. Theory मध्ये जाऊ नका, but he had given the expression for this energy of this electromagnetic radiations of frequency nu in the form of quantization is given by E is equal to h into nu, where h is Planck's constant and nu is the frequency of this radiation. So he said this energy exists in bundles, okay, energy exists in bundles rather than waves. Waves तर आहेतच, त्याचबरोबर electromagnetic radiations exist in energy bundles, of which its energy is given by this formula, E is equal to h into nu. Further we have this relation, also we have relation, several times we have seen this relation. C is given by nu into lambda, where lambda is wavelength, C is velocity of light, and as usual nu is frequency. So nu is equal to this, and therefore we can use this. Now nu can be, therefore I can write nu is equal to C upon lambda, okay, isn't it? I can write this nu is equal to C upon lambda, and if I express this in above expression, therefore I can write this Planck's relation E is equal to h into C upon lambda, or this can be written as product of h, Planck's constant, C velocity of light, and this 1 upon lambda is called as nu bar or wave number. So this nu bar is wave number and it has certain dimensions. It is given by 1 upon lambda, or reciprocal of wavelength. This is reciprocal of wavelength. In 12th standard you have must studied about this. Doesn't matter, I'll just repeating these things here. So this is given in number, and therefore this is given either by centimeter raised to minus 1 or meter raised to minus 1. These are the dimensions and units of this. So E is equal to hc nu. This is one very important relation, okay. So E is equal to h into C into nu bar. This is another important relation over which sometimes we may be asked a question. So this is first relation, then this is the E is equal to h nu is the first relation, frequency into Planck's constant, frequency reciprocal, or that is nu bar, that is the wave number, Planck's constant, and velocity of light. These two relations are equivalent and same relations. So further this particular concept was used by Einstein, okay. These are, and I'm new name I am giving to you, Einstein, who used the photon concept, and this concept he used in photoelectric effect. In photoelectric effect he used this particular concept. One more, this is what in 1905. One more concept by same Einstein here in 1905. This is called as STR, or that is called as special theory of relativity. Special theory of relativity. Dear friends, you are going to learn more things about this later on in the higher classes. When you go for SYBSc, TYBSc, you will learn that the special theory of relativity, किंवा त्यालाच मराठीमध्ये आपण सापेक्षतावादाचा सिद्धांत असं म्हणतो, that particular also came in 1905. And according to this, okay, so according to this theory, special theory of relativity, Einstein proved that photons are massless particle. It's difficult for you to understand what this is. Massless particles allowed to move or allowed to travel with velocity of light. किंवा त्याचा अर्थ असा होतो की पुढचे जे बाकीचे पार्टिकल्स आहेत, प्रोटॉन्स, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, न्यूट्रॉन्स वगैरे कुठलेही ॲटम्स, मॉलिक्युल्स घ्या, त्यांची वेलॉसिटी कुणाचीही फोटॉन इतकी असू शकत नाही, कारण त्या प्रत्येकाला काहीतरी मास आहे. And in this universe there are only particles which are massless, that don't have any mass, but they have energy and they can travel with certain velocity, that is the velocity of light. Or ज्या पार्टिकल्सची वेलॉसिटी ही वेलॉसिटी ऑफ लाईट एवढी असेल त्यांचं मास 0 असतं, किंवा ज्यांचं मास 0 नसेल त्या पार्टिकल्सना वेलॉसिटी ऑफ लाईट एवढी वेलॉसिटी घेता येत नाही. So maximum possible velocity in the universe is the velocity of light, and that is taken by the photon. So this important concept was given by Einstein in his special relativity, and that was found to be correct. That was found to be theoretically correct. So therefore this is the massless particle, and according to this theory, momentum, okay, momentum is the velocity into its mass. So momentum of photon according to this theory is given by P is equal to m into c. So even though I am calling it to be massless, momentum is given to be mass into velocity of light into whatever mass of this photon. If I write this relation as m into c square upon c, I can write this relation. Now you may remember this according to the special theory of relativity, E is equal to mc square. That is the mass and energy equivalence is given. म्हणजे तुम्हाला लक्षात असेल किंवा माहीत असेल, ही जी स्पेशल थ्योरी ऑफ रिलेटिव्हिटी आहे त्याचे दोन महत्त्वाचे कन्सेप्ट होते. त्याच्यातला एक कन्सेप्ट जो असेल तो मासलेस पार्टिकल, त्याचबरोबर वेलॉसिटी ऑफ लाईट इज मॅक्सिमम, आणि तिसरा एक महत्त्वाचा कन्सेप्ट असेल दॅट इज दिस एनर्जी अँड मास. दीज आर इंटर कन्व्हर्टिबल, दे कॅन बी चेंज्ड into each other. Energy can be converted to mass, mass can be converted into energy, and this relationship E is equal to mc square. This is called as energy mass equivalence. This is another important concept given by Einstein. So I can use this concept here, and therefore this can be written as E upon c. So P is equal to E upon c can be written there, and as usual again we can write this E is equal to h, earlier relation, this E is equal to h nu. So if I write this h nu upon c, I'll get this to be again equal to h upon lambda, because c is equal to nu lambda. From that relation, nu upon c is equal to 1 upon lambda. So I can use this, and therefore I can get P is equal to h upon lambda. This is another relationship. This is called as that shows the photons, or the momentum of photon is given by this relationship. So there are several different types of relationships can be seen in modern physics, and they are found to be give a strong foundation for this dual nature of electromagnetic radiation. So dual nature of EM radiations, आपल्याला आता हे मॅथमॅटिक्स फारसं महत्त्वाचं नाहीये, किंवा त्याच्यातले मधले जे पार्ट्स आहेत थेरोटिकल डिस्कशन्स ते आपण शिकलेलो नाहीये. इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक थिअरी आपण थोडीशी शिकलो आहोत. थिअरी ऑफ रिलेटिव्ह वी हॅव नॉट लर्न इन टू डिटेल्स, ती पण आपण जास्त शिकलेलं नाही. बट ट्राय टू अंडरस्टँड रिगार्डिंग द नेचर ऑफ दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक वेव्स. वॉट एव्हर सायंटिस्ट कुड अंडरस्टँड इज दॅट दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स एक्झिस्ट इन ड्युएल नेचर. दोन वेगवेगळ्या पद्धतीने ते असू शकतात किंवा अस्तित्वात येऊ शकतात. त्यातला एक नेचर असेल ज्याला आपण इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक किंवा वेव्ज म्हणतो, तरंग किंवा लाटांच्या स्वरूपात, आणि दुसरा जो असेल तो पार्टिकल, त्याला आपण क्वांटायझेशन म्हणतो किंवा फोटॉन्स म्हणतो. सो इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स एक्झिस्ट इन ड्युएल नेचर. दिस इज वॉट कन्फर्म्ड बाय द थिअरी अँड द एक्सपेरिमेंट अँड सेव्हरल डिफरंट टाइप्स ऑफ फिनॉमिनन्स विच वेर डिस्कस्ड इन फिजिक्स राईट फ्रॉम 1600 अप टू 1900 or 1950 अँड सो ऑन. हा जो सगळा प्रवास आहे साधारणतः 300-350 वर्षाचा. दिस मेनी इयर्स टूक ह्युमॅनिटी टू अंडरस्टँड दी करेक्ट नेचर ऑफ दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स. म्हणजे इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्सचं करेक्ट नेचर माहीत व्हायला साधारणपणे 250 ते 300 वर्ष आपल्याला लागली, एवढं माहीत असू देत. अँड दीज आर द डिफरंट स्टेजेस, हिस्टॉरिकल स्टेप्स ऑफ हाऊ आवर अंडरस्टँडिंग वेंट फ्रॉम दी लाइटनिंग टू ए ड्युअल नेचर ऑफ दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स. That is what we have gone through this all the discussions what we have seen here. Now more about this, याच्याबद्दल तुम्ही जास्त माहिती जसं मी सांगितल्याप्रमाणे you learn this in higher classes in SY BSc and TY BSc. there is another theory that is called as wave particle duality in case of matter too. So electromagnetic waves and matter, these are the two constituents of the universe. म्हणजे हे सगळं विश्व तुम्हाला जे दिसतंय ते मॅटर, मास पार्टिकल्स आणि एनर्जी ह्या दोनच बनलेलं आहे. सो एनर्जी कॅन बी कन्वर्टेड टू मॅटर, मॅटर कॅन बी कन्वर्टेड टू एनर्जी. जसं एनर्जी ही ड्युएल नेचरमध्ये असेल तसंच मॅटर सुद्धा ड्युएल नेचरमध्ये असायला पाहिजे. That was the concept used in quantum mechanics, and then later on all the other branches like quantum mechanics, electronics, solid state physics that came afterwards, this dual nature of the matter. जसं dual nature of radiation आहे तसंच dual nature of matter पण असेल. But this advanced studies, advanced physics, that will be, you will be learning that particular physics in the higher classes, first year, second year, third year, or after that in the post graduation too. So this is what just a glimpse to you. म्हणजे हे तुम्हाला फक्त एक आयडिया द्यायची होती की दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स एक्झिस्ट इन ड्युअल नेचर, अँड दिस इज वॉट अ जर्नी हॅपन फ्रॉम इट्स बिगिनिंग टू द एंड अप टू 1950 अँड सो ऑन. अँड नाउअडेज वी आर डॅम शुअर, आपल्याला खूप चांगल्या पद्धतीने माहिती आहे, बिकॉज देर आर सेव्हरल कन्सेप्ट विच सपोर्ट्स टू द वेव्ह थिअरी, देर आर सेव्हरल कन्सेप्ट्स अँड एक्सपेरिमेंट विच सपोर्ट्स टू दिस पार्टिकल नेचर. देअरफॉर नाउअडेज physicists and all entire world accepts this dual nature of electromagnetic radiations. याच्याही पुढे जाऊन dual nature of the matter is also there, and that gives rise to another branch of physics that is called as quantum mechanics or quantum physics, and that is one of the perfect science which deals with each and every minute details of atoms, molecules, nuclei and all other types of things. But that advanced study is not part of discussion here. So whatever discussion was the study of this electromagnetic waves. Here we have finished this first part of that. Now let's come to the last part of this particular radio waves, or all these types of waves, and that is called as applications. So applications of electromagnetic waves. Applications of electromagnetic waves. Remember, there are hundreds of applications. असे हजारो शेकडो applications आपल्याला सांगता येतील. अर्थात सगळेच्या सगळे ॲप्लिकेशन्स आपण बघणार नाही आहोत. सो आउट ऑफ दिस इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम इच सेक्शन, आपण प्रत्येक वेव्ह सेक्शन बघणार आहोत आणि प्रत्येकाचे ॲप्लिकेशन्स वी आर जस्ट गोइंग टू नंबर देम. म्हणजे कोणते कोणते ॲप्लिकेशन्स आहेत, दीज ॲप्लिकेशन्स वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न ओनली इन नंबर्स इन द सेन्स first application, second application, third application, like that. And more about that, actually there are several different types of devices and instruments we use in everyday life. खूप वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे, आपला सेन्सर असेल किंवा तुम्ही जो मायक्रो टीव्ही साठी हे वापरता, काय रिमोट कंट्रोलर वापरता, आपण घड्याळ वापरतो, आपण मायक्रोवेव्ह वापरतो, आपण इस्त्री वापरतो, आपण आणखी प्रकार शेकडो प्रकारचे आणखी वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे डिव्हाइस वापरतो, मोबाईल असेल, टेलिस्कोप असेल, एव्हरीथिंग. सो ऑल दीज डिव्हाइसेस देर इज सम इंट्रॅक्शन, तिथं सुद्धा मॅटर आणि एनर्जीची काहीतरी इंट्रॅक्शन असते, इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक वेव्हची इंट्रॅक्शन असते. अँड देर आर सर्टन सिम्पल टाइप्स ऑफ प्रिन्सिपल्स युज्ड बाय दीज डिव्हाइसेस. सम आर फ्रॉम फिजिक्स, म्हणजे फिजिक्समधले किमान एखाद दुसरं प्रिन्सिपल वापरून प्रत्येक डिव्हाइस वर्क करत असतं, त्याचं ॲक्च्युअल ॲप्लिकेशन इट्स वर्किंग एक्सेट्रा. दॅट इज वॉट वी आर गोइंग टू सी इन द नेक्स्ट चॅप्टर. बट हिअर वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस some of the important applications of this. So first part of this comes to be again a radio waves. So we have discussed earlier these things. The word radio comes, okay, जसं मागाशी मी सांगितलं होतं की रेडिओ हा शब्द ह्या वेव्स वरून आलेला आहे. अशा प्रकारच्या रेडिओ वेव्स किंवा रेडिएशन, रेडिओ आणि मग आपला प्रत्यक्षातला रेडिओ. So all these words comes to there, that is called as radio waves. Now as we have seen in this, out of these electromagnetic spectrums, these spectrums are used for, okay, I'll guess numbers. आपण फक्त नंबर देऊया. नंबर 1, radio broadcasting, radio BROAD, broadcasting, and then TV transmissions, TV transmission, okay, हे त्याचं ॲप्लिकेशन रेडिओचं. Then all mobile phones, they are using radio waves for their communication. तुम्ही आता रेडिओ ब्रॉडकास्टिंग बघितलं की ज्या ठिकाणी रेडिओ सेंटर असेल जिथून कार्यक्रम प्रक्षेपित होतात, ते कार्यक्रम आपल्यापर्यंत पोहोचतात. कसे पोहोचतात? विथ द हेल्प ऑफ दिस रेडिओ वेव्स. So there is a transmitter, there is an acceptor or receiver. Radio waves are emitted by transmitter, accepted by the transmitter. So sound waves converted into electrical waves and electrical waves converted into radio waves. radio waves again converted into electrical waves, and then finally sound waves. So journey from sound waves to sound waves through radio waves, and that is possible because if the distance म्हणजे आपण आणि रेडिओ सेंटर याच्यातलं डिस्टन्स 100, 200, 400 किलोमीटर जरी असेल, त्याची जर बऱ्यापैकी एनर्जी असेल तर अशा प्रकारच्या वेव्स आपल्याकडे पोहोचतात. सो टीव्ही ट्रान्समिशन, रेडिओ ब्रॉडकास्टिंग, रेडिओ ट्रान्समिशन, मोबाईल फोन्स एक्सेट्रा, all these devices they use this type of waves which is called as radio waves. Then the second important application is submarines. So submarine communication system. We know that submarines usually remain inside deep sea. Submarine communication systems. Now there won't be any system किंवा सबमरीन आणि आपल्यामध्ये समजा 1000 किलोमीटरचं अंतर असेल, there is no way to communicate between them because optical radiations or other radiations cannot reach there, but radio waves can reach very easily from the source to, they can travel directly through liquid, म्हणजे पाण्यामधून 100, 200, 400 किलोमीटर पर्यंत ह्या वेव्स ट्रॅव्हल करू शकतात. and these waves can be accepted by submarine, and then communication is possible with the submarine with the help of these type of radio waves. So submarine communication system is one of the very important application of this. Then third important application of this radio waves I can suggest list here is remote sensing. So I think remote sensing, तुम्ही दररोज सॅटेलाइट पिक्चर पाहता. ओके, सो व्हॉट इज दिस सॅटेलाइट पिक्चर? So this IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, this meteorological department gives you satellite picture of the weather. So that gives a weather report, so that on which part of India there are clouds, on which part there are no clouds, there is a clear atmosphere, there is a thunderstorm, there is a storm, there is something cyclone is coming, what are the different directions of air currents, temperatures at different locations. So all this data, weather system, this data can be obtained by the help of this type of images that is called as radio sensing imaging, and this remote sensing imaging is done by the satellites using the radio waves. So these type of radiations are emitted by that satellites, which are actually that fall on that surface, and reflected images are again catched back, and based upon that this type of satellite images are generated, and these images are very useful for us nowadays. With the help of that we can go for understanding the different types of the natural phenomenon like monsoon. म्हणजे मान्सून केव्हा येणार आहे, कधी येणार आहे, कसा येणार आहे, कुठं ढग असतील, कोणत्या भागात पाऊस पडेल, कोणत्या भागात पाऊस पडणार नाही, वाऱ्यांची दिशा काय असेल, ही सगळे जे डिटेल्स तुम्हाला मिळतात. All these details are possible with the help of this remote sensing, and remote sensing uses different types of radio waves. That is to be understand again at all the time. Then sometimes we use radars. Okay, radars again on airports. Actually airports radar use other types of waves too, but some radars use radio waves too, and with this particular radars it is possible to detect a location of an aeroplane, whether it is any enemy aeroplane or our own aeroplane or some other types of commercial airplanes, etc. All these details can be given, and that is what one of the important application of this. Other than that, another very important application I want to stress upon here is that is called as a radio telescope. Now we all learn telescope. Optical telescope is there, you might have heard or might have seen about this. ऑप्टिकल टेलिस्कोप युजेस ऑप्टिकल रेडिएशन्स. तुम्हाला जेव्हा एखादी दूरची गोष्ट बघायची असते तेव्हा आपण जो टेलिस्कोप वापरतो ज्याच्यामध्ये लेन्सेस असतात, ओके, डिफरंट टाइप्स ऑफ लेन्सेस, प्लॅनो कॉन्व्हेक्स लेन्सेस, डिफरंट किंवा मिरर्स वगैरे वापरतात. सो दीज आर ऑप्टिकल टेलिस्कोप, अँड दीज टेलिस्कोप हॅव सर्टन लिमिटेशन्स because these particular radiations cannot reach to a large distance, because in between in atmosphere these type of radiations are absorbed, and to overcome this difficulty people have invented these type of telescope which are called as radio telescope. And these telescope are such a devices that can look into an object which is whatever distance. म्हणजे तुमच्या लक्षात येईल ज्यावेळेस एखाद्या दूरच्या ताऱ्याकडनं किंवा गॅलेक्सीकडून आपल्याकडे हे जे माहिती येते का रेडिएशन्स येतात, यातले ऑप्टिकल रेडिएशन्स बरेचसे हे हवेच्या वरच्या थरामध्येच ॲब्सॉर्ब होतात, आणि आपल्याकडे येणारा लाईट हा फार कमी असते किंवा त्याच्यामध्ये खूप तुटक इन्फॉर्मेशन असते, अँड देअर बाय वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू यूज. म्हणजे ऑप्टिकल टेलिस्कोपने आपण जर जमिनीवरून एखाद्या गॅलेक्सीचा अभ्यास करायचा प्रयत्न केला तर फारसे डिटेल्स तुम्हाला मिळत नाहीत, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ दिस रेडिएशन्स आर ॲब्सॉर्ब. but this doesn't happen with the radio waves. Whatever radio waves emitted by that type of sun or galaxy or whatever extragalactic object, these radiations can directly pass through the atmosphere without absorption, and these are being absorbed or accepted by this radio telescope, and therefore we will be able to cast its correct images, good images, आणि मग त्याचं कन्वर्जन करून ऑप्टिकलमध्ये कन्वर्जन करून आपल्याला त्याच्या फोटोग्राफिक इमेजेस काढता येतात. सो दॅट्स व्हॉट रेडिओ टेलिस्कोप इज अनदर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट ॲप्लिकेशन वेअर इट इज कॉल्ड एज रेडिओ ॲस्ट्रॉनॉमी. ओके, सो दिस इज व्हॉट ए रेडिओ ॲस्ट्रॉनॉमी. And in that concern, you might have heard this name of a project. This is called as GMRT. What is this project? It is called as Giant Meter Wavelength Radio Telescope. Okay, so where this telescope is? GMRT is at Khodat, okay, near Narayangah, just 75 kilometers from Pune, and this is one of the world known radio telescope. त्याच्याबद्दल शक्य झालं तर काही तुम्हाला मी यूट्यूब थोडं नंतर शेअर करेल, और यू कॅन लुक इन द यूट्यूब. दॅट इज व्हॉट. नाउ दिस इज वन ॲरे. व्हॉट इज दिस ॲरे? असं वाय-शेप ॲरे आहे. वाय-शेप मीन्स द टेलिस्कोप आर लोकेटेड ॲट डिफरंट लोकेशन्स. मधल्या पार्टमध्ये खूप जास्त टेलिस्कोप्स आहेत. देर आर इन ऑल 30 डिफरंट टाइप्स ऑफ रेडिओ टेलिस्कोप. ओके, 30 रेडिओ टेलिस्कोप्स. ॲक्च्युली ह्या सगळ्यांचं मिळून हा टेलिस्कोप होतो, रेडिओ टेलिस्कोप डिशेस. नाउ व्हॉट आर दिस डिशेस? 45 मीटर्स. तुमच्यापैकी काही लोकांनी त्या पाहिल्या असतील. डायमीटर मेटल डिशेस. These dishes are erected in the Y-shape in that particular area almost of 50 kilometers. म्हणजे या टोकापासून या टोकापर्यंतचं डिस्टन्स साधारणपणे 40 ते 50 किलोमीटर आहे, आणि हा खूप मोठा एरिया आहे. ए पर्टिक्युलर दिस रिजन इज सिलेक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ, म्हणजे हा जो नारायणगावचा तो तिथला मधला रिजन आहे. सगळ्या बाजूनी त्याच्या आजूबाजूला डोंगर आहेत. मधला एक विशिष्ट असा एरिया आहे की जिथं खूप कमी प्रकारचा इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक वेव्हचा डिस्टर्बन्स असेल. इंडस्ट्रीमुळे किंवा अदर कमर्शियल ॲप्लिकेशन्समुळे जो डिस्टर्बन्स येतो तो डिस्टर्बन्स त्या ठिकाणी येत नाही. आणि मग या प्रकारचे जे सगळे ऑब्जेक्ट्स आहेत विच आर फार अवे, फ्यू बिलियन लाईट इयर्स, आय एम टॉकिंग फ्यू बिलियन लाईट इयर्स, इतक्या प्रकारच्या वेगवेगळ्या ऑब्जेक्ट्सकडून ज्यावेळेस आपल्याला ह्या रेडिओज येतात, these radio waves can be catched and we can image these type of objects very directly with the help of this type of radio telescope. So this radio telescope is one of the very important tool developed by the scientific community in India. Actually this is developed by TIFR, okay, or Tata TIFR, sorry, this is TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and there is the that is called as Radio Indian Institute of Radio Astronomy. There is NCRA, National Center for Radio Astronomy. This is government initiatives, and this Department of Science and Technology controls all this. And this is one. इथं तुम्हाला ज्यावेळेस या प्रकारच्या काही ऑब्झर्वेशन्स घ्यायचे असतात, फ्यू इयर्स काही वर्षानंतरचं पुढचं आपल्याला त्याच्यामध्ये हे मिळत असतं, बुकिंग मिळत असतं, इतकी त्याला डिमांड आहे. सो लॉट मेनी सायंटिस्ट ऑल ओव्हर वर्ल्ड these are using. So these all 30 dishes, ह्या सगळ्या डिशेस एकाच वेळेस एका विशिष्ट ऑब्जेक्टकडे आपल्याला त्याचं डिरेक्शन करता येते, अँड वी कॅन टेक सच टाईप ऑफ ऑब्झर्वेशन्स. त्याच्यामधला जो टेक्निकल पार्ट आहे की हाऊ दिस रेडिओ वेव्स आर ॲक्सेप्टेड, हाऊ दिस रेडिओ वेव्स आर कन्वर्टेड टू इमेजेस, etc. This is a technical part that is not we are interested here, but here the radio waves generated by all such type of extragalactic objects, these radio waves are accepted, and based upon these radio waves we can generate their pictures, we can generate their concepts, or we can get their images of that type of objects, and thereby our understanding of galaxies, solar systems, and other types of quasars, etc. that is possible. So this is thirst of knowledge. आपल्याला हे सगळं जग जाणून घ्यायचं आहे की पृथ्वीच्या बाहेर या सूर्य मायेच्या बाहेर काय काय गोष्टी आहेत, कशा कशा आहेत, त्या कशा इव्हॉल्व्ह होतात, हाऊ स्टार इज बर्थ, स्टार कसा जन्म होतो, किंवा स्टार संपतो कसा, ब्लॅक होल तयार कसं होतं, क्वेझार्स काय असतात, बाकीचे गॅलेक्सीज कसे असतात, वेगवेगळ्या टाईपचे गॅलेक्सी कसे असतात, हाऊ दिस एंटायर वर्ल्ड इज गोइंग ऑन, this can be understood with the help of this radio telescope. And such type of one of the very big telescope, one of the very of its unique type of telescope exists in very close vicinity to our city, that is Narendra Koda, that is GMRT. Some other time please visit that institution of that particular facility to understand how these radio waves are very nicely used to picturize all such extragalactic objects which are far away, few billion light years I'm calling 100 billion light years, 200 billion light years or more than that. Such type of object can be detected and which is not possible by visible telescope किंवा visible telescope ने अशा प्रकारचे ऑब्जेक्ट तुम्हाला दिसू शकत नाहीत, but we can detect, we can study, we can see their properties with the help of this radio telescope. And in that concern, this GMRT has a great application and advantage and importance as we have seen there. Okay, now I'll just give two objectives of this GMRT. जो objectives काय बघा, so we'll just write in brief objectives. First objective here is to detect, I'll just write in the words, to detect the highly redshifted spectral lines of an objects of an objects खरं तर extragalactic object. And second important application is to search and study rapidly rotating pulsar. To search and study rapidly rotating pulsars. खरं तर आणखी एक 2-3 मिनिटं मला ह्याच्यावर बोलायला आवडेल. I'll do this and then we will go for the next waves and like that. Okay, now look at this. What is this? You are aware about this theory, right? Expanding universe. We'll just do that and then we'll stop here. Expanding universe. Okay, in that concern you might have heard about this Big Bang theory. What is this theory? This theory tells you that before 13.5 billion years universe started from a Big Bang. Okay, that is also called as great explosion from a single point. अर्थात या थेरी प्रमाणे 13.5 billion years पूर्वी there was no space, there was no time, there was no material and nothing, but somehow this universe started before 13.5 billion years and a very big expansion or that type of explosion occurred. So this is what explosion at 13.5 billion years, and this explosion is such that after 13.5 billion years, okay, billion years I am saying, this is what a time t equal to 0, and now t is equal to 13.5 billion years. Now all this like sun, all these systems, then galaxies, all the galaxies, etc. So all these things are going away from each other. So everything is moving away from each other. And if it is looked, now this is galaxy 1, this is galaxy 2, and if there is some more galaxy, this is galaxy 3. If there is a galaxy 4, okay, I am just going this to be galaxy 4, you will find that. And if I measure velocities of this movement of such object, here v1 will be smaller, then this is v2, this is v3. So here v1 is smaller than v2 is smaller than v3. याचाच अर्थ असा जसा आहे आपण पृथ्वीपासून जसं जसं दूरच्या गॅलेक्सीज बघतो किंवा त्याचा ऑब्झर्व करतो, this velocity goes on increasing in such a manner the galaxies which are at a distance of very far away, which are moving with velocity approximately equal to velocity of light. म्हणजेच ह्या युनिवर्स मधल्या काही गॅलेक्सीज velocity of लाईटच्या वेगाने आपल्यापासून दूर जात आहेत. And therefore whenever light radiations are emitted by such galaxies and these radiations reached here, this entire radiations म्हणजे इथं जरी तो ऑप्टिकल किंवा विजिबल रेडिएशन असेल किंवा इकडे एक्सरेज असेल, and when it reaches on the surface of earth, this gets converted into radio waves. This is called as a red shift, or that is also called as the Doppler effect. More about this you will learn in the next higher classes. So Doppler effect and red shift, these are the two important effects which which have made us able to understand this nature of the universe. So this, according to this Big Bang expansion, the galaxies or the extragalactic objects which are far away from the earth, the radiations emitted by these objects, when it reaches to the earth's surface, then these radiations get converted into radio waves by this red shifting or the Doppler effect. And this is how we are able to understand or detect this type of sources, these type of objects, and we can study about them. So how this universe is expanding, why it is expanding, what is the rate, what are the different galaxies, what are the black holes, what are the quasar, what are the pulsar, etc. This study cannot be done with the visible radiations. म्हणजे आपल्याला आपल्या डोळ्यांनी दिसणाऱ्या रेडिएशनच्या साहाय्याने आपण या गोष्टींचा अभ्यास करू शकत नाही. याच्यासाठी आपल्याला रेडिओज लागतील, and for that we require this type of radio astronomy, or for that we require such type of telescope which are called as radio telescope. So remember this GMRT, giant meter wavelength radio telescope, its applications, its areas, its other fundamental basics. So why this is there, what are the components, what are the different types of galaxies, what are the different types of dishes used, what are their dimensions, their array, etc., its operations, its functioning, etc. That is a different part. But try to understand, without help of this type of radio telescope we won't be able to understand the nature of this universe, expanding universe, and this Big Bang theory, all these details of the entire existence of the humanity. All these things can be understood with the help of these type of telescopes. So these radio telescopes which also use these type of radio waves, which are basically radios, which are basically one of the very important tools in the study of the physics nowadays. So this is how we have to go for a very important application of this radio waves, as we have seen. So astronomers all over the world use these telescopes to observe many astronomical objects such as hydrogen second region, again that is a difficult part for you, galaxies, pulsar, supernova, sun, solar winds, etc. In August 2018, the most distant galaxy ever known, located 12 billion light years, म्हणजे ह्या विश्वाचा ज्यावेळेस उत्पत्ती झाली त्यावेळेस बाहेर पडलेल्या किंवा त्यावेळेस बाहेर पडलेले रेडिएशन्स आता आपल्यापर्यंत पोहोचत आहेत. इतक्या दूरपर्यंतच्या गॅलेक्सीज आपल्याला ह्या रेडिओ टेलिस्कोप थ्रू बघता आल्या किंवा बघता येत आहेत. त्यामुळे दिस GMRT हॅज अ ग्रेट इम्पॉर्टन्स, अँड इट इज वी आर व्हेरी फॉर्च्युनेट, वी आर हॅव्हिंग व्हेरी क्लोज सच ऑफ दिस फॅसिलिटी. इफ पॉसिबल वी विल अरेंज वन सच ट्रिप लेटर ऑन, जेव्हा केव्हा आपल्याला शक्य होईल किंवा हा कोविड सिनारिओ संपल्यानंतर we will arrange a study tour of our students, FYBSc, SYBC students, to such type of location or the vicinity of the facility where this type of radiations or this type of functioning goes on. So try to understand, this is not a last application of radio waves. Radio waves, other than that there are several other applications which we have not written here. आपण तो मेन्शन केलं नाही किंवा त्याच्यात लिहिलेलं नाही, but apart from that there are several different types of applications are there. Okay, so try to understand what we have started: radio broadcasting, TV transmission, mobile phones, submarine communication, remote sensing, satellite images, weather system, etc. Then radars in case of airports or other types of things. And radio telescope is one of the very important application of this radio waves. And out of that, this GMRT, giant meter wavelength radio telescope, this radio telescope has a great advantages and importance in the study of the astronomy, and these all applications depending upon the radio waves. So radio waves has many applications: scientific applications, commercial applications, industrial applications, study type of applications, as well as sometimes some other applications are also there, but it is very difficult to go for each and every application where we use this type of radio waves. Doesn't matter, some of the important applications we have studied here in the radio waves. Then next one is, next part of the spectrum, that is what we are going to discuss, is the microwave radiations. So microwaves, okay, and I think every one of us would have heard this word microwave oven. Okay, so oven is used in the kitchen मध्ये आपण ओव्हन यूज करतो, काही वस्तू शिजवण्यासाठी किंवा ऑब्जेक्ट एखादा गरम करण्यासाठी आपण मायक्रोवेव्ह ओव्हन वापरतो. सो व्हॉट दिस वेव इज, हाऊ दिस पर्टिक्युलर वेव्स आर देअर, हाऊ दिस वेव्स आर यूज फॉर getting heated a particular material, etc. All these aspects that will be discussed in the tomorrow's lecture or the day after. When we will meet on Thursday, we'll go for remaining applications of all the waves like microwaves, then infrared waves, then visible waves or visual light, then ultraviolet light, X-rays, gamma rays, etc. Every different types of waves of this electromagnetic waves has certain applications. So some of the important applications we are going to discuss one by one when we go for this next lecture on the Thursday. Okay, so let me stop it here.